Sequences ready for integration. Await decision.
You want a piece of me, boy?
My life for all. Evolution complete.
Thanks for the response to the RTS Villains video. Alas, as I predicted, non-Starcraft RTS content, just not as popular. But it's not always about the views, Spider-Man. Surprisingly, there were no angry comments, just salty ones.
Illidan did nothing wrong.
Isn't a villain. How dare you include a scary hobo in armor instead of Arthas the Giga Chad?
Anywho, on to the bug ban. Abathur is my favorite character in Heart of the Swarm. Granted, he doesn't have much competition aside from Mr. Vodka. Regardless, as before, I'm only covering the games because I can't read. I think Abathur only shows up in Evolution anyways. It's an interesting book, but I won't bring it up much here. Abathur first shows up early in the game, though where we meet him depends on whether we go to Calder or Char first. Now most mods tend to start with Calder, so we'll go with that. After dropping into Leviathan, Kerrigan sets about getting the bugs back together. The most boring character tells her to go to the coolest character in the Evolution pit. Meet the man, the myth, the legend, Abathur. The Evolution Master is my favorite Zerg character in the sequels. He's got the look, the voice, the memes.
You, infected with more Terran matter, grasper limb poorly designed, can improve. We'll give it back better.
Listen, my hand does the job just fine. Wait, not like that, not like that! He just wants to make the swarm better. Morality be damned. If it's more efficient, pain and suffering is irrelevant. His beliefs harken back to the Overmind's ideals of pursuing perfection. And while it's impossible to be perfect, self-improvement is still worth chasing. And not just any self-improvement. Pragmatic self-improvement. In life, you can't account for every issue that pops up.
Wasteful to spin unnecessary adaptations, not needed before, needed now.
Just plan for the likeliest problems and adapt when needed. Though as Abathur shows, progress isn't always pleasant. When Kerrigan hears him deleting failed experiments, his callous response is not well received.
At least put them out of their misery first.
Wasted effort. Creatures will die soon. Pain irrelevant.
When you say things like that, Abathur, I almost remember you, and I feel anger.
Anger product of adrenaline, stress response. Imminent threat. No threat to you, no anger.
His words do imply that he fears her remembering his past actions, but to him, his work isn't personal. These experiments aren't individuals, just tools. But unlike Amon, this view isn't out of genuine malice, it's just what failed ideas are. Stepping stones to evolve. As an artist, I can relate. Further digging reveals that Abathur was the one who shaped Kerrigan in the Chrysalis.
You designed the Queen of Blades.
Despite the experience being very traumatic and a pivotal part of her life, Abathur is pretty insensitive about the whole affair.
Weak and soft. Broke bones. Tore flesh. Improved you.
To the Evolution Master, his actions aren't something to be angered by. If I made you better, then pain and suffering is irrelevant. It's an ends justifies the means kind of view, which pops up again later on. Pausing the story for a bit, Abathur's main role is developing new mutations and evolutions for the Zerg. As you progress through the game, you unlock special evolution missions to test out new strains. While they're basically glorified tutorials, it's nice to just go on adventures collecting samples and trying out cool units. A shame we don't get more variants like stuff for the Queen or the Overlord. Honestly, an Abathur campaign about evolving the Swarm would have been a cool spin-off. Now with each mission, we need to make a choice between two variants. Want lings that jump or extra kits? Want baby roaches or slower enemies? Want classic lurkers or one of the most broken units in the game? Some choices are more obvious than others. Green variants like Splitterlings and Broodlords tend to be easier to use than the purple versions. Hunter Banes are fun but gimmicky. Vipers require micro, which I suck at. Swarm hosts are mid in general, but flying locusts are more useful than tunneling. And would you rather have stinky ultralisks or immortality? Getting back to the story, another interesting quality about Abathur is that he can get mad.
Unacceptable.
On Cyrus, he initially dismisses the primal Zerg as uncontrolled and sloppy. Dino's greater than bugs. Ridiculous. When they copy his design shortly after arrival, things get ugly.
Primal Zerg stole design from Swarm. Swarm on planet for hours. Days already being replicated.
I love this moment for him. Not only is it funny, but despite coming off as a cold professional, he takes pride in his work and dislikes it being taken from him. I respect that. Ironically, despite his disdain for the Primal Zerg, the Dino Jacuzzi makes a better version of Kerrigan than he ever did.
What I am now is beyond your comprehension.
Difficult to admit. New structure beyond understanding.
And while he does have an ego, he admits when something impresses or surpasses him. It's also kind of funny because he still tells Kerrigan about her new powers anyways in the following mission. I wonder if it would have made more sense for Zerban to say this. On Char, Abathur reveals that Zagara tried and failed to control him. Foreshadowing. His pragmatism is yet again on full display as he discusses the failed experiments of humanity and the issues with assimilating them. Infestation tends to destroy whatever intelligence and psionic power Terrans possess. So unless you're Kerrigan, you're just a discount baneling.
Very bad. Primitive structures, minimal biological adaptability.
And while Sarah wants to stop the tests for moral reasons, Abathur just wants to stop for practical ones.
From now on, we won't be doing any more experiments on humans.
Am pleased to know it.
Fun fact, after domination, if you talk to Abathur before chatting up Zagara, you end up repeating the dialogue about Terrans after old soldiers. Presumably they figured most sane people would talk to Zagara first, then Abathur, so he can discuss the improvements he made to her. But I am not most sane people. As per Kerrigan's instructions, he makes the broodmother smarter. This begs the question as to why they weren't smarter to begin with.
Zerg must present no danger to leader of swarm.
Now, I'm not sure how a broodmother could ever beat Kerrigan, but even the Cerebrits were pretty capable without the Overmind. Granted, they also needed it to live, but the broodmothers do feel like a downgrade overall. Zagara video win. As for Abathur's origin, he was created by the Overmind. When Mr. Eyeball got Ganterthored, Abby wandered the tunnels of Char until Kerrigan gave him purpose again. And this brings up an interesting and central part of Zerg identity.
You aren't Zerg unless you're under someone's control.
Without overriding will, am beast. Less.
They need a master, a purpose. On Skyger, Abathur once again shows he knows his limits.
Organism Stukov, fascinating. Implications disturbing. Interweaving of Terran and Zerg matter. Subtle. Spun on micro scale. Not possible for swarm.
Game recognizes game, and he's willing to switch sides for greater efficiency.
Recommend immediate indoctrination into foreign entities swarm.
If the swarm improves, leadership is irrelevant. Kerrigan does not approve.
Never.
Surprisingly, he doesn't have much to say about the hybrid, though. Given the Overmind's goal of assimilating them, it does seem a bit odd, though I doubt Kerrigan would agree to him getting any samples. The only real conversation with Abathur in the cold blackness of space explains the problems with Terran technology. Since Zerg are all natural, pesky things like machinery and coding are alien to them. They can intercept transmissions and understand Terran language, but stuff like cyber warfare is beyond them. Unless... I got it! Infest the IT guy.
Hello, Kerrigan. I've been waiting for you. What is that creature?
Will not let you destroy humanity's only chance at salvation.
Wasted effort. Creatures will die soon.
Abathur's final contribution comes during the invasion of Korhal. As always, the Terrans have developed the unique adaptation of big guns, which obviously presents a problem for the swarm. Abathur's solution? Bigger guns. Well, bow launchers. Nevertheless, they succeed, and the swarm reaches the palace. In their final on-screen conversation, despite Kerrigan's admission to her motives being entirely selfish,
Everything I've done to the swarm has been for my own revenge.
Abathur points out that for him, morality is irrelevant.
When purpose changes, swarm changes. This our function.
You know, sometimes you're not so bad, Abathur.
Unclear.
As we can see, Abathur is a great character because he's the perfect Zerg minion. He's a bug who does his job. He's not ambitious or malicious, he's dependable, insightful, and amoral. Also, he's really funny. In other words, he is the perfect employee. In many ways, he reflects the old ways of the swarm. to consume and evolve for the purpose of pursuing perfection. I respect the hustle. That's it for Abathur. I don't really know what to do next since the algorithm seems to be shifting once more. Mayhaps I shall finally try my hand with a certain crusading reporter. Shoutouts to Gladys Marino, Appy Akron, Michael Phillips, and Mike Pierce for supporting my corpse of a channel. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and let the weird bug man eat your hand for scientific purposes.